Today, on The Social, another Conservative MP has crossed the floor to the Liberals. But are these moves unifying the country or making us more divided? And ABC, ChatGPT? We discuss OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's claim that he couldn't imagine raising his child without the chatbot. Then, food entrepreneur Maddy Goldberg talks about why she wanted to bring fine dining to food banks and how she makes 100 meals in 2 hours. Plus, from makeup to skincare and fragrance, we're dropping hints on behalf of beauty lovers with a curated list of must-have products. It all starts now on The Social.
You know what? That is what I call perfect Friday. Wow. Thank you all for dressing up, for traveling all this way. Welcome to The Social. Well, listen, everybody, it seems to be an early Christmas present for Prime Minister Mark Carney and the Liberal Party. I don't know if you heard, but former Conservative MP Michael Ma has crossed the floor to join the Liberals. Okay, so that leaves the federal party just one seat shy of a majority government. So close. In a statement, Ma wrote that this is the time for unity and decisive action. So are moves like this making the country more unified or divisive? What do we think?
I wonder if it depends, on what side of the aisle you're sitting. Because if you're a liberal, you're probably like, yes! It feels almost like your team is winning. But if you're a conservative, especially if you voted for the guy, you're probably a little peeved, a little disappointed, maybe even mad. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're an NDP, and you're just sort of sitting there being quietly hey guys, I'm still here. Don't forget about us.
I actually think if you zoom out, it actually is quite unifying. Mark Carney is the most conservative of liberal leadership that we've probably seen ever, first of all. Second of all, everybody knows that you can't get anything done when you've got a minority government situation. Things just get stalled, and it's very hard to get anything done. So people want action, and so I think that if you actually zoom out and take all emotions out of it, people are saying, you know what, we need to get stuff done. We are in a really, really bad place. So let's come together, let's make a majority government, and let's take all of what has been previously quite nasty politics out of it and do what Canadians do best, come together and fight for our country.
You know what? Pride and ego, get rid of it.
That's a very mature way to look at it. I was looking at it more like a Housewives episode where I'm like, spill the tea, what is happening? And I realized it comes down to the way I think about the Conservative Party, which in my mind, I've always thought of them over, it's party over politics. So when I see them cross the aisle, I'm like, oh no, someone needs to spill the tea about what's going on, because this is not typically what they do. They always stick to one side. So in my head, I'm like, what's going on? But I realized, I did a little research, this has happened before. It was 25 years ago, but it has happened. They're actually September of 2000, David Price, Diane St. Jacques, and Andre Harvey joined the Liberals at the same time. So this has happened, but it hasn't happened in a long time.
Did it swing them into a majority?
Yeah, and and this is why I think I was just shocked, because I didn't know this information, and I just don't expect it from the party. But if anybody would like to, from the Conservative Party, would like to sit down with Omar Sachedina, with the Social, and let us know what's going on, I'd love to hear the story behind that.
Because I think where there's smoke, there's fire. This is now the third Conservative. One has already crossed the floor with Christian Tremont, and then there was another person who wanted to cross the floor. It seemed there were allegations that he was talking to the party, and then the Conservatives said, if you cross the floor, there's going to be some words and consequences, so he decided to resign instead. Wow. This is now the third person who has actually come over to the party. So it's 171 seats. They need 172 to be in a majority government. which tells me what is going on with Pierre Poilievre and the conservatives behind closed doors. This has been historically a very tightly run ship. They get behind their leader, and he has been this pit bull who's been barking a lot for a really long time, and no one has stepped out of line. This is unprecedented in the number, the fact that this could swing potentially the government to majority. If there are more people talking, which, depending on who you're listening to, there are more conservatives talking, what is this going to do? Here's why I don't mind it. If maybe you voted for him as a conservative, I can understand if you're upset today. I understand that completely. But if you also zoom out, this is unprecedented times. Nothing unites people like a common enemy. And you know who? I don't want to say enemy, but there's a guy named Donald Trump who is who is trying to change global world order, literally under our nose. He may or may not, probably does not believe in democracy. He doesn't believe in alliances. He doesn't believe you take care of your friends.
Global warming?
He doesn't believe in global warming.
Treating women with
believe in a
respect.
lot. He doesn't believe in science. He doesn't believe in medicine. So Canada is in a very, very precarious position. We need to find new friends. We need to get all on board with Team Canada. And that is where I think this is going.
Yes. And you know how you do that. You start talking about Taylor Swift.
Oh.
That's where we're going next. She was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and shook off suggestions that she'll disappear into a blank space anytime soon. She said what she values most is career longevity. But what do you think about this idea of longevity versus taking a step back?
I think it has a solid point, and I think she should actually listen to the people who are giving her this message, and not in the way you think. I'm not saying in a negative way, like, go away, give someone else a chance. I think that the fans are actually saying, we really love you, and we want you around as long as possible, but if you're gonna bombard us with an album in different colors, and another tour, and another tour, and another this, and then you're showing up at all the, and it's too much Swift, then we're gonna kind of get tired of you, and we don't want to do
Or
that.
they can't even afford her. Like, they just can't afford
Here's the deal.
bloody tickets
But
anymore.
wait, even for the people who can afford, there's too much of a good thing is never good.
You
right?
know what,
So I think-
Taylor, I hear what you're saying, because, like, you know, we get tired of people. What is it? Familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. According to her fans, there's not enough Taylor. I'll tell you why. The numbers don't lie. This is a demand and supply issue. The demand is insatiable. She came out with Life of a Showgirl after she did a $2 billion record-breaking 2-year tour with the Eras Tour. They couldn't get enough of her. They made her a billionaire based on touring. Then she drops an album that she recorded while she was on tour. It is the #1 biggest best-selling album in the history of music sales.
Okay.
4 million in the first week. That's not even it. Then she drops the album. Not only does it go #1 on Billboard's 200, it takes up the top 12 spots with all her music.
Okay, wait.
The fans can't get enough.
No, wait. The fans can't get enough. Yes, those are great numbers and they make a great point. But is she going to do this for the next 10 years? You're going to do this for the next 15 years?
that.
You can't sustain that. And what they're saying is, if you can get all of those numbers with all of the stuff coming out, imagine what your numbers would be if you just disappeared for like 3 years and you just kept quiet. Because you know her fans love Easter eggs. They love, let people miss you. I'm not saying you have to do a Sade where you disappear for 10 years. And by the way, where is Sade? Sade, show yourself. I'm not saying you go that far. But I'm telling you, if she can do all of that with everything she's doing, imagine if she just kind of disappeared for a year or two.
There's nothing like that feeling of missing someone
Yes.
you love or admire. You know, you're apart from someone and then you're like, oh my God, I love the feeling of missing you. But I don't think that's possible. I don't think the media will allow us to miss Taylor Swift. She sneezes and they write about it, and then we talk about it, right? I think in this age, like Sade was able to disappear, Greta Garbo was able to disappear, and the public wanted to know.
Adele disappears.
She
does. Adele
but
disappears.
I don't think Taylor Swift could disappear for 2 weeks, even if she
Let's try
tried.
it. Let's see.
No, that's true.
Taylor, try it.
Well, the algorithm isn't really letting her. Like, even if she was going to, I think to your point, I don't know. I have two minds of this. Like, I don't think that we've thought about men in this way. Like, you know, Prince was notoriously prolific. He had, like, I don't know how many albums that he did, and many men do studio tours, like, and do tour after tour after tour, like your Rolling Stones and your
Elton John,
all those ones. And we don't really say take a step back, but no one has had quite the power.
Right.
But
Of
did
that
they,
young-
wait, did they oversaturate the market the way she did? Did they put out an
but is
album
she
in 10
doing
different
that?
colors? Like, I don't remember them doing that.
I know, for sure, but I feel like the part of this is the fan base that is asking for it. I guess it is on Taylor, though, a little bit to recognize that there are other women who would like to occupy probably some of those top 10 10 spaces. And so is there a place where she now is at his level of her career where she could take a sidestep for a moment and allow other
6
people
weeks.
to occupy those
Okay,
spaces?
okay, I get what you're saying.
No.
Okay, I think we're all saying the same thing in a way, but if I can just totally take a different angle at this, the feminist in me says we never ask men to slow
But
down.
no one-
we
but they're-
never
no,
do.
we're not asking you to
And
slow
hold
down.
on, I'm not done. And also, you know what? Asking a woman who's at the top of her game, you know what? You should think about other people. I
I'm
will
not
say
saying
this.
that.
It's like, I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm saying that
I'm saying that. I am
Okay, so
saying
you're
that.
saying that.
I'm not
But it's
saying
like, if she is on top of the world and she is the artist of this new era, and she's the one leading the way, who is it for us to tell a young, successful woman to stop? It just feels very
But, okay, but
unfeminine.
I hear what you're saying, but the other,
Just pause.
yeah,
Just
it's just a
pause.
pause. It's just like kind of the way of thinking about how you can mentor, how you can be an example to, how you can make
what if she
space
doesn't wanna
for.
be a
Yeah, I don't think she
I'm
needs to
just
do
saying,
that.
it's just worth
It's a
thinking
business.
about
It's
it.
a music business, and it should be called the business music because it really is more of a business. I'm not saying that she should stop and let somebody else take the charts. I'm just saying it's a lot, and I feel like every time I turn around, you got a new project, and I'm just saying, hey, just pump your brakes. We want to see you for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
A little mystery.
A little mystery
Guys,
go
maybe
away.
she's doing this
and then
because
come
she
back.
wants to have a baby and she's trying to pump it all out before she has
She
a
could
baby.
retire tomorrow.
Guys, when you become a mother, it all changes. Let her
It
live.
depends.
Let her live. Anyway,
That was good.
that was good,
Yeah.
guys. I think we did a good thing there.
It's a nice time.
I don't know. Okay, let's take a break, everybody. Up next, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman confessed he, quote, cannot imagine raising his newborn baby without using ChatGPT. And it's getting a lot of reactions, even from moms, everywhere. We're going to discuss it right after this.
Hollywood director Paul Feig drops by to chat about casting Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried in The Housemaid.
Welcome back. Okay, I keep saying this, but if you are coming to the Toronto area, we would love to see you here live in studio. We have a really good time, don't we? Yeah. And the best part, I know affordability crisis, I know groceries are expensive, but guess what? You know how much it costs to be here, Andrea?
$3.99.
$3.99.
baby.
That's how much it costs. We love to see you.
Okay, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman made his late night debut on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he irked parents everywhere when he said he can't imagine figuring out how to raise a newborn without ChatGPT. Very on brand. What do we think of this?
Is that me? Is that me? Oh, is that me? Okay, where do I begin with this nonsense that he just said out of his mouth? Jumping on what I said about last time. I think he was being a little tongue-in-cheek. I mean, listen, he's the CEO of ChatGPT and OpenAI, so it's a little bit of marketing. Slide in there. But where I don't disagree with him is that, like I like lights and I like electricity because technology has evolved and we don't have to use candles anymore. I like driving a car. But, because we don't have to use a horse and carriage anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think
It's
what
a
he's
tool.
saying is
AI
that
is
it's
a
a
tool.
tool, it's technology, and the same way that we used to say, I'll Google that, we now just say, I'm going to ChatGPT that. So I actually think that, I don't think he's being serious at every move he makes, he's using ChatGPT, but the reason why websites are dying is because ChatGPT just amalgamates all the information. It's a quick and easy way. So if there's something as a mom, remember when something would happen and be like, is this normal? I think I need a little reassurance.
Honestly, this is where this really bugs me. Because I think that parents too often are undermining their own confidence by going to these things. Yes,
Yeah.
it was Google
that's
before, and
interesting.
now it's ChatGPT. Before that, it was books. And instead of using the village and also trusting their instincts, because who knows your child better than you is you.
But the early days, I didn't know anything.
Right?
But I didn't know anything.
But yeah, I promise you, Mel, you knew more than you thought you did.
I mean,
but there
she's
is this-
alive. She's
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
I guess
Here's
it's
the thing,
worked out.
though. In this interview, said things like, he asked the question to ChatGPT, why does my kid stop dropping his pizza on the floor and laugh? Why? That's what he Googled, or not Googled, ChatGPT. And then also he had been talking to a dad whose son had been crawling at 6 months, and he went into the bathroom and panicked and was like, should my son be crawling at 6 months? Like, that to me is a misuse of this technology.
Didn't you guys use Google to do stuff like that?
Not like that, no.
I did.
To me, that made it worse. It was like you'd go out. I remember coming back home from an appointment, and this nurse assistant, who was like clearly not a parent herself, said to me, is your son making animal noises yet? And I was like, no, he isn't. She's like, And I was like, what the heck? Automatically, any parent thinks there's something wrong with their kid when that happens, right? Yeah, exactly. But it was a horrible moment. And of course, my temptation was to go to Google and maybe to ChatGPT. But the truth was, I went, I know my kid is not problematic. There's nothing wrong with my kid. So I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to say, forget about this.
You don't know what she wrote. She could have been like, future genius.
Yeah.
You don't know what she wrote. She didn't tell you what's in that chart. You mentioned something that it's a little bit of marketing. I think it's a lot of marketing. Because if you're going to create something and then you're going to go and promote it on a show and someone's going to ask you, well, do you like it? Of course you have to sell it.
Yeah.
You have to say, of course, my children, my mother, of course, he's doing his job as a person who owns a business. But I do remember, you guys remember back in 2010, Steve Jobs was doing an interview with the New York Times, and the reporter asked him if his kids love the iPad. Okay, you guys know that he was one of the inventors of the iPad. And his response was, they haven't used it. We limit how much technology our kids use at home. Now,
that's bad marketing,
that
perhaps.
is horrible marketing, but then look at where we are today. We just did a story. The story just broke earlier this week that Australia is, banning social media for kids, and they're realizing all of the bad things. So it's like, at least Steve was being honest with us. This guy, Steve was like, I don't know. I don't let my kids touch it. And we should have paid a lot more attention to that. So I just think this guy's doing what every business person would do. If you ask me about the product that I'm trying to sell, I'm going to tell you it's the greatest thing ever. I have it. My kids have it. Everybody has it.
Yes,
That's
so
what he's
true.
doing.
I appreciate the softness you brought to this conversation. Those were points I did not consider. But I do think we're going through this time where whenever like a new tool comes to our disposal, there is always like this a little bit of moral panic. Like, what are we going to do with it? And like electricity, that's such a great example. Electricity gave us light. It also gave us the electric chair. Do you know what I mean? So certain tools can be used like for nefarious means. So it's how we use them. It's how we use the tools,
You're right.
right? We're not, because we're never going back to candles. We're not going back, so we just use AI as a tool with compassion and thoughtfulness because the AI creators just got Time Person of the Year, People of the Year. Like, we're not going back.
Yeah, and I just think if you're a parent, just a note, if something's wrong with your kid, don't ask ChatGPT. See an obstetrician.
Yes, thank you.
See a pediatrician. Talk to a doctor. Just,
Yes.
All right, so here's some food for thought. Italian cuisine is already loved across the world, but now it's getting extra props. UNESCO has designated the Italian rituals of cooking and eating as World Heritage, but doesn't mention specific recipes or dishes. So what do you guys make of this designation?
You like it? I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I feel like I'm one of those rare people, I think like you, who's like several generations Canadian. My background is Italian, but it's quite far removed. Having said that, there are certain dishes that have been passed down, and I feel really delighted whenever they pop up in our home. And yet, at the same time, I'm sure if an Italian was to see the way that this recipe has been passed down, they might be like, what is that? Like, of course, because it morphs and it changes with generations. So as much as I love this, I think one of the beautiful things about being Canadian is that we know that things change and cultural, like it evolves. And I wonder if this can end up making people be, I don't know, more sort of territorial and identity-based.
Well, the Italians already are more territorial about their dishes. That's why I find this designation, it's so broad and by design. Like, it's called World's Intangible Heritage, which is kind of laughable, right?
It's not.
How is it? Like,
because if I can say this, I'm going to take a sidestep because a place in Lisbon, Portugal, which is the home country of my father. Thank you to the cameraman who's at Antonio back there. Thank you. It is the school, the Portuguese School of Equestrian Arts. The kind of riding that my family does.
That's different. That's
not different. It's under the exact same intangible cultural heritage.
but that you can quantify. Like, that particular type of riding is a beautiful thing. But how do you quantify a country's cuisine, especially a country where no two recipes essentially are the same? Every nona makes something different. Every region.
But maybe it's not recipe because it's the practice of it. And if I go back to my example really, really quickly, if you preserve the practice, it's not about the end result. It's the fact that the grandmothers are the ones sitting and they're picking the pomodoros, they got the tomatoes, they're doing the sugo and they're teaching the kids.
You don't think we've romanticized that a
No,
little bit?
I don't think so, because anytime that I go to Italy, I was just there this past summer, there are very clear practices that show me what the culture is, and I think it's a beautiful thing to preserve
Well,
it.
what happens with immigration? Like we're right now talking to both sides of our mouths. We're
Open
talking
the tent.
globally.
It's not just for Italians.
Okay, well, as long as we're acknowledging that, because I think sometimes we do talk out of both sides of our mouths about wanting to have a multicultural society. There is more need for immigration around the world, and also, yes, preserving some.
I think it's a beautiful thing. The act of preserving these rituals, these practices, these traditions that are under threat because of globalization. That's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful
But this is so utterly broad. And when I think about some of the categories in this UNESCO intangible heritage thing, they're beautiful. Like they preserved the sort of idea of the way they make ceviche in Peru. It's a very specific idea.
It's very good.
But this is so broad. This one feels like a cash grab. Sorry, people have to think, they have to sink thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get themselves voted. And it just feels like there's a couple of Italian people sipping espresso being like, let's have Italian eating on there.
All right, everybody, after the break, let's take one. Someone wrote to the New York Times to ask, how can I stop my wife from badgering our friends about climate change? Yeah, she's got some things to say about how they're living their lives. So thoughts on this and more right after this break. We're back, everybody. So a reader wrote to the New York Times for advice saying, so how can I stop my wife from badgering our friends about climate change? They say she's angry about their friend's insufficient commitment to the cause, and it is very, very off-putting. So how do you handle this situation, Andrea?
All right, so this is very simple. There's 3 ways you can handle this. First one, it's not hard. First one, just don't invite. And if that's tricky, because I understand it's his spouse, so how do you not invite her? What you do is you sit her next to someone who's either new to the family dynamic and doesn't know about her nonsense, or someone who has the patience to listen to all her yammering, because she's probably gone nose blind to all the stuff that she talks about.
Yeah.
And then there's the third, which is you're just real direct. You go, listen, Suze, you kill the vibe. When you come and you start talking about that we get together to have a good time, it's the holidays, can you please, just for this one time, put that down and let's talk about something else. Everybody here just wants to have a good time, because maybe she just doesn't know how much she brings it up and how much she annoys everybody. So do the Caribbean thing. Be direct and tell her about it. Shouldn't
the husband take her aside and just be like, honey, I love you, but like...
You're killing the vibe.
Yeah, you're killing the vibe. Or maybe like you're not gonna convince someone to change their world attitudes and stuff by like that sort of moral bullying.
Yeah.
Like, don't you have to be a little...
I mean, I don't know. I think, I don't know what I would do in this situation. I was invited once to, through a friend, to this like, what's it called, a farm? They like conserve animals. I know, go with me for a minute. It was an animal rescue farm, guys. And the woman who runs it was lovely, but she was following me around and just preaching vegan everything, right? The whole time. And talking, like, it was in explicit detail about like a whole bunch of things. And I just was like, you know what, this is making me, in my head, this is making me really uncomfortable. But then I thought, like, maybe I'm supposed to feel some discomfort. Maybe there's some stuff that I'm supposed to listen to. Maybe there's like, so while I wouldn't invite her over for dinner, like that would be a whole other thing. I do think that sometimes we are so uncomfortable with sitting in somebody saying something that we know is actually true.
Absolutely.
Okay, but what if what she's saying is not exactly on point?
Okay.
Okay, so for example, I can imagine, we don't know exactly what she's saying, but let's say she's saying, you know what, stop letting the water run when you're brushing your teeth, which is what I say to my husband all the time.
Or maybe she's
right?
saying,
or, you
stop
know,
asking ChatGPT about your kids.
Sure.
Oh, that is rude. Yeah.
Which is
That's
right.
destroying.
So maybe instead, I mean, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer to all of us here, but yes, absolutely, all of us should be doing what we can to help the environment. But the biggest contributors to climate change are massive corporations that are 1,000 times bigger than us. So I would say be an activist, but you should use your voice where it's going to have perhaps more input. Me using a paper straw ain't changing the coral reefs. That's a great point.
But then
so
that's
the point
gonna
is
ignite
take
her.
the activism and say, you know what, you should link up with an organization that has a lot of sway to do some lobbying for the corporations that are the biggest
That's what you would do.
offenders. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that
It
would
sounds
you do.
nice, But you know, think about that person. The person who really is just at something, I'm telling you, you're adding fuel to that fire, because then she'll be like, good, I have someone to talk about this with. Yeah, Melissa, let's talk about those corporations. And then the conversation gets even bigger and bigger. I say you just say, listen, girl, I'm exhausted. I talk all day, every day, and I just need to do a little timeout. Talk to me about something else. Let's talk Taylor Swift. Something else. Just be direct with her, because I think if you try to sway her, she wants the argument. You know, somebody who just like to keep going. I say just tell her directly, man. Cut it out.
True.
And in the next couple weeks, we're all gonna deal with this. Just tell them. It's like,
just tell them. I just run in the kitchen. Say, something's burning. I'll be right back. Hide.
Oh God, that's such a Jess move. I love it. Let's take a break, everybody. Afterward, we're gonna meet Chef Maddy Goldberg, who's bringing fine dining to food banks. We're gonna love this right after this.
Welcome back, everyone. If you had about 2 hours to cook for 100 people and didn't know what ingredients you have until you walked into the kitchen, do you think you'd be able to do it?
Oh my gosh. Well, guess what? Our next guest does this every single week. She is known as the chef bringing fine dining to food banks. And every single Tuesday, she comes up with creative ways to feed the community by combining her love for recipe creation with her passion for social work. So today, she's here to tell us all about this amazing journey into food philanthropy. Please welcome to the show, Maddy Goldberg.
Welcome!
Thank you.
So, Maddy, you have been cooking professionally for almost a decade, and when you were working in fine dining, you learned pretty quickly that the values you saw in restaurants didn't really align with your values. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. I think for me, I got into food and cooking because I was a person or a kid that was obsessed with eating. And so that sort of naturally developed into a love of cooking. And then that developed into deciding to actually turn it into my professional career. I went to school for social work, so I always thought I would work in social work. I always pictured myself in a nonprofit working with chefs to fundraise through food. Now I find myself, I'm working in a fine dining restaurant and I'm surrounded by people who think of food very differently than me. You know, I was told things like, if you want to save the world, you shouldn't be working in a restaurant. Meanwhile, I'm thinking I come from a social work background. That is maybe in some ways what I wanted to do. A lot of the chefs I worked with kind of think of food as a sport. I want to be the best. I want to win the accolades. I want to push myself. And I respected that so highly. That was like the people that I looked up to. But it never resonated with me when I think about what I want to do with my career. It was things that were sort of giving back to my community. And also I got into food because I love cooking for friends and family.
Yeah.
And when you work in fine dining, you sort of, it's easy to lose sight of who you're actually cooking for. You're so intense in the back of house. And so it's kind of, I guess for me, a moment of realization working in fine dining. This is my research years. I can learn everything it is about this food system. And then now, kind of later on when I have the time and am no longer in fine dining, how can I give back or think about food in the way that I sort of went into it, which is feeding my community.
Oh, I love that.
And so once I had time, sort of after leaving restaurants, I was a private chef and I had time to kind of reconnect to that. I decided, why not try volunteering at a food bank? And that sort of led me to where I am today. Yeah.
So let's get that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Now let's get down to brass tacks. So you show up, you have 2.5 hours to make 100 dinners for people. Where do you, and you don't even know what the ingredients are. So like, where do you start? How do you begin?
So for me, it's fun. It's like a game every time I enter, and I love that game. I walk around and I spend about the first 10, 15 minutes deciding what I'm going to use. And again, the ingredients are always changing. There's a few items I always know I'll have. So things like milk, eggs, potato, onion, really, really simple ingredients. And then otherwise I'm kind of walking around, I'm looking for something that excites me. But the thing is, what's gonna excite you at a food bank is so different than what's exciting at a fine dining restaurant. It's literally like a red pepper is gonna excite me, or finding tahini, or ideally, as a chef, I love working with seasonal produce. So if I'm finding a vegetable or something that's in season, I'm always gonna go for that right away. Right. And then once I find an ingredient that excites me, I'm gonna build a dish off of that ingredient and sort of go from there and conceptualize as I'm starting to cook, I guess.
Can we talk about that, the food banks? Because they rely on donations, we know, and especially now, but I mean, hopefully all year. And we know that oftentimes we hear the message, donate your non-perishables.
Yeah.
Non-perishables. But you said you can always rely on milk, eggs,
Yeah.
bread. Like, should we be donating?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, no,
Eggs,
it's a good
milk,
question.
bread?
I think, so at the food bank, the reason you're told to donate non-perishables is largely because if the food bank has an excess of ingredients or food being donated, non-perishables are non-perishables, so they're not gonna go bad and we can use them in a month from now, 2 months. The issue with obviously fresh food is you're gonna have food that goes bad or could go to waste in that case. The thing is, as a chef that's actually taking in ingredients, I'm working with it right away. I have had some chefs donate fresh produce, and I do urge people to contact your local food bank if you have an excess of fresh ingredients. It's great to then see if they'll take it. Depending on the food bank, some will, some won't. Also, something to mention is, you know, this time of year, it's holiday season, it's really beautiful. A lot of people like to donate a lot at this time, and it's amazing, but it does sometimes overwhelm food banks. And, you know, I would never tell people not to donate food, but I do urge people to think of other times of the year. Yeah. Like, if every single person were to donate it also on their birthday, we all have different birthdays, that would sort of like distribute
That's great.
the
I love that.
food donations. Thank you.
So talk about some of the dishes or creations that you've created that have been a huge hit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for 4 years now, so I've made so many dishes over the years. I think when I think of more recent ones, for example, like I had red peppers that I found recently, and I was very excited by that. Again, example of something that seems simple, but for me, it's not something I'm finding at the food bank often. And so then I have to think about things like time constraints. I only have 2 hours. It's hard to prep 100 roast red peppers for 100 people.
Yeah.
But what I can do is roast the red peppers and turn it into a sauce and then use that sauce. So like this one in particular, I roasted red peppers, I turned it into romesco sauce, which is like a roasted red pepper sauce, and then I made a romesco pasta with chickpeas, and I was able to feed
What a great idea. That's awesome.
Well, I know that presentation and fine dining go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But do you still think of that when you're making food for the food bank?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, I'm a strong believer that you eat with your eyes without question. Even before fine dining, as my background, when I was cooking for my friends in university, I noticed, you know, if I'm taking these simple cheese and crackers and I'm plating it and making it look beautiful, suddenly the plate's gone in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And so I definitely have always been a strong believer of that. Something I've carried into the food bank and like any cooking I do is no matter who I'm cooking for, I want them to enjoy the food. I'm also doing it because it's like an expression of love for me. So it's you know, something that it's obviously important to make it taste amazing, but I also think if you're looking at something and you're excited to eat it, suddenly it tastes that much better.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's incredible. So given the cost of grocery these days, what items would you recommend that are cost effective and go a long way?
I think ingredients, like I always urge people to have, you know, a big bag of rice. And then for me, things like flour, water, eggs, because you can do a lot with that, like dough and tons of like fresh pasta stuff, but that can intimidate people.
Yeah.
I also just urge people to sort of approach cooking differently, which is instead of going to the grocery store and spending like $200 on one grocery trip and then letting half that food go bad in your fridge, I just urge you to walk home, and as you're walking home, maybe stop and pick up broccoli that you're gonna cook that night. And there's so many cute local small produce shops all around the city that have really high quality produce that you can just pick up on your way home and then cook it, and you don't have to worry about it going bad.
No wastage.
Yeah.
The other part of this conversation.
Yeah.
Maddy, this is such a cool thing that you do.
Yeah,
and
way to go for all you're doing.
Thank you.
I hope it inspires more people to do this.
Yeah, I
It's a beautiful
appreciate it.
gift. Thank you. Thanks for
you.
joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that is so cool. Let's take a break, everybody. We'll be back with holiday gift ideas for beauty lovers. We'll be right back.
Which means if you want the gifts at the top of your wish list, it's time to drop some not so subtle hints.
Okay, well, as a girl who loves her glam, beauty products are always at the top of my list. So here to talk about how Sephora Canada is helping beauty lovers get exactly what's on their wish list this holiday, Jacqueline Forbes is here.
Good to have you back, Jacqueline. Good to see you look fabulous. And I understand that Sephora has been dropping some not so subtle hints this season. So tell us about their new campaign.
Yes, Sephora Canada wants to make sure you have the best holiday season yet. And they launched a pretty epic campaign to go along with it. So they asked their beauty lovers to slide into their DMs, let them know what's on the top of their beauty wish list and who they want it from. Then, when December 1st hit, they released all of those not so subtle hints by putting them on billboards across the country.
Oh, no
Direct call outs. It doesn't get more not so subtle than this,
Yeah,
right?
I love this idea.
Pretty epic. I love it. I think it's a great way to be very intentional about gift giving and make sure that the person's gonna get exactly what they want, right?
Absolutely.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to encourage you, leave your browser window open, maybe send an accidental text. You know, you might as well get it on the fun and make sure you get the thing that you want. There's so many beautiful, amazing products at Sephora.
So true.
So this also may be a not so subtle hint to things on my wish list. So to my loved ones watching, maybe pay attention.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know what's so great about being a national talk show host, Jacqueline? It's like you can drop hints almost anywhere, anytime, and you just never know who could be watching, like your husband at home. So, yeah, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think that's a really great, subtle hint. But what about if you peek inside that bag there? There might be something you want to see.
Oh, okay. Something in here. Oh, it's something for me to see. Hello.
So, in here, I believe this was on your wish list, the Carolina Herrera Good Girl Blush Perfume. Give it a little spritz. Look at that. We're gonna
give her a little.
You can get the fragrance in there. Now, this is inspired by powdery blush. There's beautiful double dose of vanilla in there, ylang ylang. It's very fresh and floral, which is great. Perfect for any fragrance lover like yourself. And the iconic bottle. I mean, it's so good. Look at that.
That is iconic.
Yeah, that smells so good.
Right?
It's the subtlety for me. That was my favorite part. All right, next up, Jacqueline, next up on your list, it's the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush. What can you tell us about this one?
Oh, this is amazing. I have it on today, so I am a little selfish. I do love this one. You know, Rare Beauty is an iconic brand. It's made quite the it girl brand by its founder, Selena Gomez.
Can I do it?
I mean, go for it. You know,
Can I
this
do it?
really packs a punch. It's very pigmented. One dot is literally all you need.
Two. Now you tell me I did two, Jacqueline.
You're trying to white it. It's okay. Blend. The beautiful thing about this, it's super lightweight and very blendable. So you'll see it blends right in.
Okay. I was like, I did 2 dots.
2 dots. Sometimes it can be too much. All you need is one.
good.
Okay, it's very pigmented.
Okay,
but
we're
what's
good.
great is there's a huge range of colors, so there's going to be something for everyone. Also, different finishes. You can get a dewy finish, a matte finish, whatever you want. And there's a reason these ones are so popular. So I had to put that on my list.
I love that.
Oh,
That's
we love
fantastic.
that. Okay, you know, I'm always looking for hair care under the tree. So you brought the Olaplex #7 Bonding Frizz Reduction and Heat Protection Hair Oil for our wish list today. So tell us what it does.
Oh, this one is so good. If you have not tried the Olaplex #7 hair oil, you will need to. And if you have tried it, you probably want it restocked under your wish list. Exactly. You can put some on right now because this is like a one-stop shop product when it comes to your hair. It's gonna be great for taming any flyaways, reducing any frizz, but it's also gonna actually help repair the bond. So if you have any damage, which I know I do, the science doesn't lie. The technology is up to 77% of damage gets repaired by using this.
Wow.
There's a patented technology that actually forms the hair bonds that are broken back together. So great for hair health, preventative, maintenance, adds beautiful softness and shine. I like to do it when I slick my hair back.
It's amazing because this is actually all my own hair today.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and it's
it's gonna
very
help you
good.
by the second.
Yeah, and I have that product. It is so good, and it
so
also
good.
smells incredible. All right, so I love getting gifting skincare and getting it this time of year. And you brought an item that should be on our holiday wish list. This is the Tatcha Dewy Milk Moisturizer. So talk to us about this one.
Tatcha is a holy grail. This specific one is great because it's actually very balancing. There's beautiful ingredients inside that are going to be good for helping absorb any excess oil in areas where you might not want it. But there's also moisturizing ingredients that are going to add that dew, say on your cheekbones where you want that really like refreshed, dewy look. There is a powerhouse of ingredients in here. There's Japanese purple rice, which is going to be great for like pollutants and environmental stressors that can affect your skin.
Okay.
But then there's also green tea extract inside, which is a beautiful antioxidant powerhouse that's really great for actually balancing the microbiome of your skin. I know we hear about gut microbiome, but your skin has a microbiome too. And this is going to be skin healthy, dewy, gorgeous skin. I love this
Yeah,
one.
this feels really good and smells good too. I love this
Getting
one.
the skincare on the hands.
Yes, Tatcha
Always.
classic. And I haven't said it enough. I love my glam. So you say that we should add the Sephora Collection Glossed Hydrating Longwear Lip Gloss to our wish list. So I'm going to take a look, and why should we put this on the list?
I am a lip gloss lover. This one is amazing because it's exclusive to Sephora, but there's actually a really cool applicator on this. If you open it up, it's got this super precise cushion applicator.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be great great because they have super pigmented shades as well, where you just need one swipe of the product. So let's say if you're using a red, it'll give you full coverage, but it's gonna make sure that it doesn't bleed or feather. So that way if you're on the go, one swipe, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Super hydrating, very glossy, but it's actually not sticky, which is
It's not
good.
that sticky.
'Cause you don't want that feeling when it feels like gloopy on your lips.
Yes, and your hair stuck to it,
Oh,
and your
the
jacket
wind.
stuck to it. Yeah, we hate that.
It's not a good time, but this is the opposite of that in the best way. Comfortable lip gloss. It's also nice and hydrating, which in the winter months, I know my lips can always use a little extra hydration, so I love that one.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, Jacqueline, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for sharing all of these great holiday hints. And don't forget, you can shop the season's most coveted beauty gifts at Sephora Canada in-store and online. And I know what I am adding to my wish list.
What does this say?
Yeah, take a look. Can you read that? Good, good, good. All right, everybody. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Drop those hands.
Here at The Social, looking fresh and feeling fierce is always in style.
I understood the assignment, honey. Yes, you did.
From the runway to your way.
Cozy and casual, loves it.
Oh, I love the monochromatic again.
If this outfit isn't Mel, I don't know what is.
Learn how to rock the latest trends.
A cargo wide leg hybrid. That sounds so good. Doesn't she look amazing?
We're stepping up the glam from head to toe.
Hello.
Explore your own unique style.
Clearly, I'm feeling myself.
Weekdays on The Social. There's never a dull moment at The Social.
We are going to have one heck of a time.
With hot takes and fiery debates.
I'm too old for Leonardo DiCaprio anyway.
We dive headfirst into juicy conversations.
Where are his wild oats now?
No topic is too messy.
I'm gonna blame all of the boyfriends that I've had.
No discussion too heated.
That is an invasion, in my opinion.
We break it down and stir it up.
Is that a red flag?
Just real talk and fresh opinions. Unfiltered.
It's hard.
Unexpected.
This conversation has changed significantly.
And always entertaining.
Are you guys having a good time?
Watch The Social, weekdays at 2 p.m. on CTV.
All right, Monday on The Social, stylist Erica Work is back. She's going to show us why the LBD, or the little black dress, is the only dress that you need for the holidays. Also, don't miss our segment on hot spots for ringing in the new year with travel expert Jennifer Weatherhead. Do you already know what you're doing, or memorable New Year's Eves?
Memorable. All the
yeah.
time I stayed home and was in bed by 10 p.m.
What? Seriously?
It was just beautiful.
I think the last time I stayed up for the New Year's and like really remembered it was the Y2K one. That was
Oh my gosh! Remember?
You guys are a bunch of grannies. I was with Bruno Mars in Las Vegas last time. I don't mean to brag, but
Oh, well, I'll be in the Caribbean for this New Year's Eve.
that's nice. So nice.
Well, that's an awkward ending. I just want to say to everybody, thank you so much. Listen, I know it is cold out there. There's ice, there's snow. You risk your lives to be here with us today, and it really means the world to us. So thank you all for coming, and you look absolutely gorgeous. So thank you first and foremost for that. All right, if you cannot get enough of us, remember, we are streaming on Crave now, everybody. We're streaming. All right, you want to stick to the YouTube? We're there too. We're on the YouTube. We've got a podcast. We have all of our social media channels as well. The conversation ends here, but never ends online. Have yourself a safe and wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.